Welcome back to Almond Consulting, your hub for the latest insights into technology and cybersecurity. Today, we're diving deep into the world of cloud computing, specifically the top threats you need to be aware of in 2024. Whether you're rocking the cloud for personal stuff or running your entire business on it, trust me, this is a video you don't want to miss. We've all seen how cloud computing has totally changed the game for data storage and access. It's like upgrading from a cramped closet to a spacious warehouse for all your digital needs. But just like any warehouse, security is key. We're going to break down the top threats identified by over 500 industry experts in the latest CSA Top Threats report. Let's get into it. First up, we're tackling misconfiguration and inadequate change control. Imagine leaving the front door to your house wide open. That's essentially what a misconfiguration in your cloud environment can lead to. Misconfigurations can be as simple as an incorrect setting or a misconfigured server. They might seem small, but they can have huge consequences, potentially giving unauthorized users a free pass to your valuable data. Now let's talk about inadequate change control. Think of this as not keeping track of who has keys to your house. Every time a change is made to your cloud environment, whether it's adding a new user or updating software, it needs to be documented and authorized. To avoid this, you need a rock-solid change management process. Trust me, taking the time to nail down your configuration and change control processes is like investing in a top-of-the-line security system for your cloud environment. Next up, we're diving into the world of identity and access management, or IAM for short. This one's all about control. Who has access to what in your cloud kingdom? Think of IAM as the bouncer at the club, deciding who gets in and who stays out. It's about making sure that only the right people have access to the right data and resources. Poor IAM is a recipe for disaster. When IAM isn't set up correctly, it creates vulnerabilities that attackers can exploit to gain unauthorized access. So how do you level up your IAM game? It all starts with a strong authentication process. This means ditching those weak passwords and embracing multi-factor authentication. Remember, IAM is your first line of defense against unauthorized access. Let's talk about those entry points into your cloud environment: interfaces and APIs. You can think of APIs as the messengers that allow different applications to talk to each other. They're essential for modern businesses, but they can also be a major security headache if they're not secured properly. One of the biggest risks with APIs is that they often expose more information than they need to. Another common issue is a lack of authentication and authorization for APIs. So, how do you lock down your APIs and keep your data safe? It all starts with proper API security testing. You also need to implement strong authentication and authorization mechanisms for your APIs. Remember, APIs are powerful tools that can greatly benefit your business, but they also come with inherent security risks. By taking the necessary steps to secure your APIs, you can mitigate these risks and keep your data safe from prying eyes. Now let's shift gears and talk about the bigger picture, your cloud security strategy. Having a solid cloud security strategy is like having a blueprint for protecting your data in the cloud. Without a clear strategy, you're essentially flying blind in the cloud. So, how do you go about building a winning cloud security strategy? It starts with understanding your cloud environment. Next, you need to establish clear security policies and procedures. And don't forget about training. Your employees are your first line of defense when it comes to cloud security. Remember, a solid cloud security strategy is not a set-it-and-forget-it deal. It's an ongoing process that needs to evolve as your business needs change and new threats emerge. It's like a good workout routine. You need to consistently put in the effort to stay in shape. Let's face it, in the world of cloud computing, we can't do it all alone. We rely on third-party vendors for everything from software applications to infrastructure management. But while these third-party services can offer a ton of benefits, they can also introduce new security risks. The problem is, when you rely on a third-party vendor, you're essentially trusting them with your data. One of the biggest challenges with third-party risk management is that you don't always have full visibility into the vendor's security practices. So, how do you mitigate the risks associated with third-party vendors? It all starts with due diligence. Before you hand over your data to any third party, take the time to thoroughly vet their security practices. Once you've chosen a vendor, don't just assume they'll take care of everything. Trust, but verify. That's the name of the game in the world of third-party risk management. Let's talk about software development for a minute. In today's digital world, software is everywhere. But just like any other aspect of our digital lives, software can be vulnerable to security threats, especially when it's not developed with security in mind. Insecure software development practices can lead to a whole host of problems, from data breaches and system outages to compliance violations and reputational damage. So, how do you shift left and make security an integral part of your software development lifecycle? It all starts with education. Your developers need to be trained on secure coding practices. But it's not just about writing secure code. You also need to implement rigorous security testing throughout the entire development process. Remember, secure software development is not a one-time task. It's an ongoing process. Let's be honest, we've all had those moments where we accidentally hit reply all on an email or sent a text to the wrong person. Human error is inevitable, and unfortunately, it can have serious consequences in the world of cloud security. Accidental cloud data disclosure is more common than you might think. So, how do you prevent accidental data disclosure in the cloud? It starts with awareness. Your employees need to understand the sensitivity of the data they're handling and the importance of following proper security procedures. You also need to implement strong access controls and data loss prevention, or DLP solutions. And don't forget about encryption. Encrypting your data at rest and in transit adds an extra layer of protection. Remember, preventing accidental data disclosure is a shared responsibility. It's up to everyone in your organization to be vigilant and follow best practices for data security. Let's face it, our digital world is constantly evolving. New technologies emerge, software gets updated, and with these advancements come new vulnerabilities. System vulnerabilities are essentially flaws or weaknesses in software or hardware that can be exploited by attackers. One of the biggest challenges with system vulnerabilities is that they're often discovered and exploited very quickly. This is where cloud visibility comes into play. Cloud visibility refers to your ability to see and understand what's happening in your cloud environment. So how do you enhance your cloud visibility and stay ahead of the curve when it comes to system vulnerabilities? It starts with implementing a robust vulnerability management program. You also need to invest in cloud security tools that can provide you with deep visibility into your environment. Remember, security is not a destination, it's a journey. All right, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today, but we can't wrap up without talking about the heavy hitters of the cloud security world: unauthenticated resource sharing and advanced persistent threats, or APTs. Let's start with unauthenticated resource sharing. This is essentially what it sounds like, allowing access to cloud resources without requiring authentication. Now let's talk about APTs. These are the ninjas of the cyber world, stealthy, sophisticated, and incredibly persistent. So how do you protect yourself against these advanced threats? It starts with a strong security foundation. This includes everything we've talked about today: strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, access controls, vulnerability management, the works. But it also requires a more proactive and intelligence-driven approach to security. Remember, security is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. That's it for our deep dive into the top threats to cloud computing in 2024. We've covered a lot of ground today, from basic security hygiene to advanced persistent threats. Remember, the cloud can be an incredibly powerful tool for businesses of all sizes, but it's important to be aware of the risks and take the necessary steps to protect your data. By following the tips and best practices we've discussed today, you can significantly reduce your attack surface and keep your data safe from harm. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more cybersecurity insights and best practices. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future videos, let us know in the comments below. Stay safe out there.